Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Zhong Luo, the owner of a dragon house. Here we go. I want to do a video of what's going on the inside MMA in the Bay Area. I know time to time a lot of people hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, send me emails or message asking me questions about, how to put show together or whether how to submit fighter get on our event. It's all kinds of questions related to the MMA. So I figure I might start doing some videos once in a while and to, talk a little bit about what's going on in the inside MMA, whether it's from the promotional side, from the fighter side, management side, coach, gyms, any question, you can think of it. I pretty much have an answer for it. So recently, a couple friends of mine from a different state actually reached out to me and asking me, how to do shows and how to put on shows to casino and how to negotiate and all that. So might as well do a video and educate everyone out there who don't understand how the show works behind the fight scene. So MMA show break it down two styles. One is a sanction, one is a non-sanction. Sanction show usually regulated by the state official. Whatever state you're at in California, regulated by California State Athletic Commission. We call them CSAC. So CSAC is regulate all the pro shows, pro fighters. So let's talk a little bit about what's good, what's bad on a CSAC show. CSAC show usually is more expensive. The overhead's a lot more. You're looking at officials coming to the event about, 10 or 14 people, give or take, timekeepers, judges, referees, inspectors, a group of guys come from CSAC. Their fees roughly around $5,000 to $7,000, give or take. Some shows a little bit more, some shows a little bit less. The reason why, it also depends where the referee judges, where they're coming from. If they come from far away, mandatory, we have to pay by the mileage of what they travel. And if they're a little bit further than a certain amount of miles, they have to have a hotel rooms and all that. So the cost can go up, anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. The venue in the city, anywhere you go in the Bay Area, you're looking at between cheap venues, small venues, probably, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 to, some of the venue up to even $15,000. Just a venue. Nothing fancy. And, some venues you have to pay for your own setup, rent your bleachers and all that stuff. So, some of the fighters watch this video probably could understand a little bit more what we're going through. So you have a better understanding when you work with promoters, so what's behind the scene. And the most killer on the pro show, it's a purse. Obviously, fighter's purse. There's no cheapest one, $500. Some of the guys coming off the UFC, Bellator with the bigger names and bigger records, and they usually ask for a little bit more. So if you can do a calculation, even $500 a fight, $500 to win. So that's about $1,500 per one fight for two fighters. So if you do 10 of those, 10 pro fights, roughly around 15,000. That's like really basic. And that's why sometimes the fighter will hit me up like, hey, give me 300 more, 400 more. So like, I just tell them I don't have that budget, so it's just the reality. You give $300 extra on one fighter. Here you go. On the pro, 12 fights, that's 24 fighters. Do your math. Right there, it's more than $6,000 extra. Just $300 more each person. And of course, when you're doing a pro show, you have a lighting. Lighting, give or take, on a cheap lighting, basic, probably $3,000 to $4,000. Really fancy lighting, a little square all the way around the cage. Whatever, you're looking at anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, give or take, depends how fancy you want to go. If you want to have a backdrop and slow motion, rewind, replay, all that, we go on and on, it gets more. And then after that you have, we do pay-per-view. We have a pay-per-view group, usually comes 5-6 people and it costs a few G to do that. But and then on top of that, etc., you cost like ring girls, laborers, and laborers usually put in the event. You're looking at least 30 to 40 laborers, to help out, put the cage together, set up the stadium, tear it down, and all that. So that's, quite a fortune. And then, of course, what comes to like announcer, what comes to, all kinds of helpers at the event. Security, that's another huge issue, and different promotion at different handle securities, and on top of that you have ambulance, and that's very expensive. They average charge about $175 per hour, if they have them stand by for anywhere from 6 to 7 hours. It depends how long the show goes, and then if someone gets hurt, the event have to stop. If someone gets escorted to the hospital by the ambulance, you have to wait for another ambulance come by before the show can get started. That's pretty much roughly the cost. And then of course the end of the night, California State Athletic Commission will also hand you a bill for the taxes for the ticket you sell. And that's what some parties don't understand. So the day of the fight, everyone become the promoter's best friend. Everyone was shooting them text messages like, hey, can you call me 2 tickets? Can you call me 3 tickets? Just to let you guys know, every ticket we're giving out for free, CSAC has taxed us, I believe, is 0.75% on the ticket sale. Every ticket we give it out. So people say, well, then you print more tickets, and they don't know how many tickets you print. Unfortunately, when we print the tickets, we have to monitor by CSAC. CSAC knows exactly how many tickets we print and how many tickets we sold and how many tickets we have in hand give it away. So it's not like we're giving out free tickets and, to friends, because you can print as much as you want. Like some of the ignorant people don't understand. Like, dude, you just print as many as you want. Just give it the ticket out. It doesn't really work like that. There's only a few places in San Francisco and the Bay Area are registered print sports event tickets, and we mandatory have to go there to print. Otherwise, everyone will be printing tickets in their garage, and as many as you want, and you can sell them. No one can monitor how many you sell or how well you do on your gate. So that's how it usually operates. So now, but CSAC show, I think, my opinion, yes, it's very expensive to put on the show with the CSAC Athletic Commission, but at the same time, it's a way better way to go. I think it's safer for the athlete. You don't ever have controversial fighters say, you're a promoter, you're a favorite to certain fighter. There's no favoritism in there. When you show up to fight, the judges assigned by the State Athletic Commission, you have no say who you wants to be coming to work on your show. Timekeeper, referee, judges. You don't really know who they assigned. And they don't relate to anybody. If they don't like the way the fighter looks, certain personalities, and then there's nothing you can do. If you're losing the fight, you're losing the fight. So try not to leave the decision to the judges. That's the best way to go for it. Like Dana White, I always say that. But anyway, so that's how you deal with CSAC, and on top of that, they're very heavily monitoring drug issues on the enhanced drugs, steroids, and all that. They have to do drug tests, P tests, pretty much on every event. On my last event, Dragon House 28, I believe it's like almost 20 fighters get tested, pretty much the whole event almost. So if you want to try to do some shady stuff, try and stay away from the sanction show, because they're going to test your ass. So now, the downside of obviously CSAC, it's way more stricted. The biggest issue we always running into is fighters have to do full medicals and fighting in California as a pro fighter, and that can be very expensive. And a lot of fighters like, well, I'm getting $500 for a fight on my first couple of fights in my pro, not even enough to cover my medical. That's just the reality. So the medical fighting in California, it's very expensive. You have to do your neuro, you have to do your EKG, MRI, eye exam, physical, blood work, the whole 9 yard, you know. So I know a few places in the Bay Area will cost roughly around $800 to get everything done. Now, the MRI is good for 5 years. You do it once, you're good for 5 years. The neuro is good for 16 months, you know, so it's not even a year and a half, a year and 4 months. Blood work is every 6 months. Physical is good for 12 months. So you can time it. So if some of the guys out there have insurance, you definitely want to get insurance kicks in and trying to get as many things done as possible. And then except some of the things you can't get insurance, then you have to pay cash for it. So, and that's the downside of fighting at you know, sanctioned show. And on top of that, most sanctioned show, they cannot pay as much as non-sanctioned show. I'll get into it in a minute and why they can do that. Okay, now, non-sanctioned show, it usually happens in a Indian reservation casino show. It's so the state athletic commission can get their hands on them and cannot regulate them, and they practically has no rules. So the biggest thing is when you put on a non-sanctioned show, you can cut the overhead literally half or more. So the biggest part they can cut out is the insurance. So if you're fighting in a sanctioned show, we mandatory purchase the highest insurance for fighters, which means if you get hurt in a fight, a lot of fighters actually don't have health insurance. Some of the guys are the professional fighter, they don't have a job, they fight for a living. Sometimes they just save all their injuries and they will show up to the fight right after the fight, and then they will take the claim form and go to the hospital and, you know, checked up any injuries they have. Now, I'm not trying to educate people to do that, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up. To us, we purchase the insurance. It doesn't really matter to us. You know, we pay a flat fee, and roughly on a pro fight, we pay about between $420 to $500 per fight on the insurance. So you're looking at one night of events. We usually pay about $5,000 for the pros. The amateur usually pay about $120 per the amateurs. And the fees you can add up, it's quite extremely heavy. Now, non-sanctioned show, a lot of time when fighters checked in, they have to fill out all the forms. They have no fucking clue what they filled out. And just pay attention, guys. But you don't really have a choice if you want to fight. After you do your weight cut and everything, you showed up to the fight, pretty much any form you need to fill out, you're going to have to fill out. So part of the forms a lot of Indian reservation casino make you fill out is the waiver, where you get hurt, that's on your own. You get hurt in the fight, it's on your own. Their insurance that does not cover you. Matter of fact, they don't have insurance. You know, they have the general liability, but they don't have the fighter's accidental insurance. Sometimes they cut corner. And if they do have the insurance, they will probably choose the super high deductible, which means barely cover anything. You show up to hospital, you think your insurance, you got the claim forms, turn around, you receive a giant bill. You know, maybe the hospital, the insurance will cover you 20% and you pay 80%, something like that, something crazy. So I always recommend fighters, if they take the career serious about it on fighting, try to choose fighting on a sanctioned show. Yes, they might pay a little bit less, but it's all for the safety, more protection for the fighters. Now, on the non-sanctioned show, they also don't have any regulation on the matchups. Anybody can match up. I mean, I went into some non-sanctioned shows, showed up on the day of the weigh-in, the main event guy dropped out, and they'll be announced like, anyone wants to fight tomorrow night, you get $750, and then some dude just walked up like, I'm down to fight, and they'll fucking get in there to fight, you know, and there's no regulations. They don't even check your background, what's the record matchup, none of that, skill sets, none of that. They just jump in there and just fucking fight. So that's non-sanctioned show, and that's why when people put in a non-sanctioned show, the stress level tend to be a lot lower than us. We're doing a sanctioned show, because when we dropped out a fight after you about 2.5 months of a preparation, interview, put on a poster, advertising, promote the fighters, and then a week of the fight, and then all of a sudden you got a goddamn text, and then just, I can't fight, I got a broken toe. And they send you a goddamn picture of the broken toe. You don't even know that's the same person as broken toe, but it's a broken toe picture. And then the fight is calls off. And it's really devastated. It is. For the promoter putting a lot of hard work, one text messages, the fight's off. And in some cases, sometimes fighters will get mad at the promoters, like, my fight got dropped. Fuck this promotion, blah, blah, blah. They don't understand. We don't have any control. It just happens. It just happens. But that's part of it. And also, on top of that, it's really hard to find a last-minute replacement on a sanctioned show. Because even some of the fighters down to fight, maybe they have a shitty record, the CSAC's not going to be approved about, or the guy's down to fight, or might have some health condition and we can't get all the paperwork done, or the guy don't have the money to get the medical done in time to get on the fight, and then replacement. So sanction show is definitely a lot more hectic, and that's why you don't see too many people trying to do more sanction show, less and less nowadays. Everyone trying to look for the casino, they can do shows in casino. Now, so let me break it down a little bit more, how the casino show works. So casino, break it down 1 or 2 deals. I can say that because I've been to many meetings with those people. I just don't like what I'm doing, and I don't think it's safe for the fighters. And that's why I don't mess with the casino shows. Casino show generally will offer promoters. You don't really need to have a license to become a promoter in a casino show, but you definitely have to have a license to become a promoter in California State Athletic Commission. They will hold on to a big, huge amount of money for the bond, and then they have to do fingerprint check on the promoter, make sure you don't have any type of criminal backgrounds. They have to go through that, a period of a time, how many shows you do before they legitimately qualify, you get a permanent license, become a promoter. California is not that many promoters around nowadays, just because a lot of hassle, a lot of hoops you have to jump. So let's go back to the casino show. Casino show, usually a lot of casinos will offer usually 2 types of deals. Number 1, they offer the promoter, which means anybody can be a casino promoter. If you're knowing them well enough and have the relationship, you don't need to get no license. You can be anybody, can become a casino promoter. So the casino usually offer you, for example, like let's say they have 750 seatings in the stadium, in the casino. They offer the promoter 10 grand. And this 10,000 is including you have to provide a cage, you have to run the event, and that's the money. And then now the official for the event, the fighter's purse, all the other miscellaneous fees they have to pay, the casino will pay to all the people the promoter put in to work at the event. So practically all the officials, judges, timekeepers, referees, they work in the casino. It can be anybody. Doesn't have to be well trained, But nowadays, some of the promoters, even they work in a casino show, they tend to be putting somebody who've been doing shows for a minute, But some of the guys, they want to be benefit for their fighters, so they put in their buddies and grandmothers, wife, whatever, sit on the judges' table, and they can put the signs up who wins, who lost. So if the fight went to distant, anybody can say, I like that guy, he's going to win the fight. There's nothing you can do about it. And they can put that record up to SureDog, mixedmartialart.com, and Tapology, and you can't really change or reverse, none of that. There's no protection at all for the fighters. But usually casino, they pay out more. So another deal casino usually do, they can do, I don't want to deal with paying the fighters and all that. I'm going to pay you $25,000. And your job is to give me 10 pro fights. And you pay the official, you pay the timekeeper, you pay the referee, judges, the whole 9 yards. I'll give you 25 grand. Now, that's just a rough number. Can be more, can be less. Depends how big the venue, depends, how many audience and how big the show they put on. But that's just kind of general number. I'm just put it out there as an example. So the promoter will get a $25,000. Now he's going to do the negotiation. So you want to hire top-notch judges, they average getting $400 per event. If I getting Tony's cousin, I'll give you $75 sitting on the table and tell me who you think is win or lose. It's all good. Now he can save more money. That means more leftover money to the promoter's pocket. they can do that with the whole entire event. And whoever work at the event can be relayed to them. Don't know, but that's the risk you are taking. On top of that, when you're fighting on a non-sanctioned show, they usually buy insurance or buy the general liability, which means for the audience, for the venue. They might buy like a really, really cheap insurance. I see some of the promotion, they don't even have insurance. And they get by with that, by the fighters checking in, sign up the waivers. So that's pretty much the casino show. And of course, there are many different casino shows, work with different promoters. They have different deals, different agreements. In generally, promoters that promote shows in casino, I would say they have a lot less risk. The chance for them to lose money practically zero. They get a solid paycheck, guarantee at X amount. When they do good, they get some percentage of the ticket sales, some promoters, and some promoters don't. It all depends. Now, promoting sanctioned show what don't have casino, because casino also, they have casino money, so all the fights they're said and done, they hope the audience can stay in the casino, gamble a little bit, buy some alcohol, they can offset the cost they pay to the promoters. But sanctioned shows, we don't have that privilege. Everything on the event, from a bottle of water, from an ice cube in the locker room for the fighters to use, every little thing, hotels, sometimes I have to call Ubers to pick up certain fighters from the airports and all that shit, all come on down to my shoulder. So here's the thing, some of the fighters or some of the people out there, and they talk about, I've been in the game for a long time, I understand the promotion. Shut the fuck up. You don't know shit. Because it's not your money. You're matchmaking for somebody. When somebody called out, all you have to do is tell the owner, hey, the fight drops, let's look for another replacement. It's not your money. You're not going to feel the fucking pressure. You're not going to goddamn feel the stress. You don't. You're not going to feel the anxiety attack on your ass. And some of those fucking guys, it bothers me when they talk like that. I know the promotion. I've been promoting for a long... No, you don't. Unless you take all your fucking monies out, put $50,000, $60,000 on the line to put on a show, there's a possibility you will lose money. If you never done that, then shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. It's just like watching the fucking poker show. People on TV put $1 million chip on the table and put the sunglasses on. I got a poker face. Let's see what you do if that's your money. Of course you can do that nice and calm and 8 other people's, looking all sharp, dressed up suit and shit. But it's not your money. Have you seen a real gambler go to fucking Vegas? All the big brawlers gamble like $80,000 is their own money. They like playing some kind of fucking superstitious, a little hound dog, a little something, and put a little beans on their hand, doing all kinds of shit to reduce their stress. That's reality. That's the reality. When you're not using your money, you don't feel the heat. And that's what I tell people. When you fight on a sanctioned show, you are protected. Even you don't see your opponent weigh in, you know he can cheat you because the official are very strict. They will record every person. But you go to a non-sanctioned show, you don't see your opponent weigh in, watch out. He might be 20 pounds over, and you're going to see that fucking dude, the night of the fight, cross the cage, like, damn, is he the same weight class as I am? Well, he say, yeah, he is. Nobody knows. That's a non-sanctioned show. So, guys, I don't want to go through a whole lot. And on top of that, if you're fighting on a sanctioned show, if you age over 40, your medical will go up to about $1,800 to get your MRI, MRA. You have to get special CAT scans and all that stuff done to pass so you can fight on a sanctioned show. And non-sanctioned show, there's no age limit. And not to mention, when you're fighting on a sanctioned show, every bout, 2 fighters agree, I have to submit that bout to CSAT, and they have to get approval. And if the fight record is really off, then I have to write recommendation. Sometimes they have to interview the fighter's coach, what make them think the fight was evenly matched, what make them think they have a chance to win. They have the right explanation, and that's deal with the CSAC, the sanction show. Non-sanctioned, you don't have to do any of that. So that's pretty much the sanction show, the non-sanctioned show. Now, I don't recommend people to fight on non-sanctioned show. Another bad thing about non-sanctioned show. So some of the fighters watch this video will probably pick up a few tips from me. And especially like overseas, okay? Guys, when you guys try to choose to fight in overseas, the majority of the fights in overseas, whether it's Philippines, China, Thailand, Guam, a lot of those shows, they all trying to favor to local fighters. Now, they can't control the win or lose if you finish them. But they can control whether they want to submit the fight on Sherdog or not. If they don't submit that fight on your record, you win, you get paid, everything's nice and smooth, but that fight will never shows up on your record. But if you lose, that fight will shows up in 24 hours. Okay? So that's the difference when you're fighting a state sanctioned show. I got a lot of connection in overseas. I do shows in China as well. And many promoters in China is back in the days, my teammates, when we were growing up and trained together. Now they're big-time promoters down there. I usually don't send my guys down there to fight unless I have a hands-on, make sure they treat my guys fairly. Otherwise, I won't even fuck with it because I know that's how it works. You know, some of the third world countries, they put show together. They focus on the promote the local guys. And when the local guy disappointingly lost, and they just hide that fight. That fight never put up on record. So that's how it works in the third world country. Just so some of the fighters, if you pick a show to fight, make sure you do your homework. You know, especially guys that start up on a career, on a fight career, you're fighting for your record. You don't fight for your money and trying to get $500 and the fight or train for 8 weeks straight. You can easily find a job, work a couple extra hours a day to make up that money. But if you choose to do that as a passion, my advice, be smart. Pick the right show to fight and watch your back. Now, this video, I just want to talk a little bit about the difference of a sanctioned show and a non-sanctioned show. Okay, and I'm hoping this video will come in handy, and I will probably keep doing another video, and you guys can make comments, send me messages, or send me emails of what you want me to talk about it. I can definitely give you the inside out on every aspect in the fight game. I've been in this game for a long time. Probably the only promoter now actively promoting more than a decade, still doing it in the Bay Area. And then before that, I was a runner for a few other promoters, was helping them out, volunteer at the event, you know, delivery flyer posted to different gyms, and I was, you know, being apprentice of learning how to promote shows. And I finally started doing my own show in 2008, and that's when I started to get into the business. So now I've been doing this for 10 years, and non-stop 3 to 4 shows a year, plus helping other people out, put shows together as well. And I'm always here to help. So any of the fighter, gym owner, anybody want to get into business and need some advice and need some tips, more than welcome to hit me up. And I don't look at anyone as a competitive, as a competition. I'm here hopefully to create a platform so all the fighters have a place to fight and you know, become a stepping stone for them to get to a big lead. And that's what my goal is. That's what I'm trying to achieve. You know, I have 50 fighters training at my own gym, Dragon House. So I need to do the event so they have a place to fight. And did the event make a lot of money? Absolutely not. I'll be very, very happy if I can get $3 to $4 per hour of the amount of hour I put into every event. I'll be very happy to get $3 or $4 per hour. Sometimes I don't, because sometimes the show can lose money. And that's just the reality. No bullshit, straight talk. And this is a very honestly talk, not lying to anyone watch this video. But I keep doing this because I'm passionate about it, and a lot of fighters depend on my event to fight, whether they're not from my gym and they need a fight, to keep, you know, pat the experience up there, to build a record, to get to a big league. And then I see less and less promoters want to do this nowadays because they run into a lot of issues. They have no idea how to deal with it. So anyway, I'm Zhong Luo. I will probably shortly do another video. We'll talk about some other topic, but today I want to talk about the sanctioned show and non-sanctioned show. What's the difference? I'll let you guys pick what you want to do after you watch the video. And you guys have a good day. And I'm Zhong Luo signing out. We'll see you guys next time.